Welcome to the Run for God Bible in a Year podcast. This is the only running-centric Bible reading program on the planet. We aim to help you get stronger physically, mentally, and most importantly, spiritually, as we read through the entire Bible in 365 days. Whether you're listening in your car, on your couch, or while you're out running or walking, we know the Word of God can transform us all. It is my prayer that you are blessed by what we do here. Our reading today will be from Genesis chapters 4 through 7. But before we get to that, let's talk about our running tip of the day. Our running tip of the day is this: be consistent. That may be the most important thing about running, bar anything. Being consistent, doing it regularly. Now, consistency looks different from one person to the next. Consistency for me is running every single day. For some people, being consistent is running 3 days a week or running 15 miles a week or whatever it is. Be consistent. If you're following a plan, checking off those days. Be consistent. If you will be consistent and not be all in one day and then all out another day, you're going to be way better off. And over time, you're going to see great improvement. Okay, so now let's get into God's Word. Genesis 4. Adam knew his wife intimately, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain. She said, "I have made a male child with the Lord's help." Then she also gave birth to his brother Abel. Now Abel became a shepherd of a flock, but Cain cultivated the land. In the course of time, Cain presented some of the land's produce as an offering to the Lord. And Abel also presented an offering, some of the firstborn of the flock of their fat portions. The Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but he did not have regard for Cain and his offering. Cain was furious, and he was downcast. And then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you furious, and why are you downcast? If you do right, won't you be accepted? But if you do not do right, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must master it." Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out in the field." And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Where is your brother's Abel?" "I don't know," he replied. "Am I my brother's guardian?" He then said, "What have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. So now you are cursed with the alienation from the ground that opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood you have shed. If you work the land, it will never again give you its yield. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth." But Cain answered the Lord, "My punishment is too great to bear. Since you are banishing me today from the soil, and I must hide myself from your presence and become a restless wanderer on the earth, whoever finds me will kill me." Then the Lord replied to him, "In that case, whoever kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over." And he placed a mark on Cain so that whoever found him would not kill him. Then Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife intimately, and she conceived and gave birth to Enoch. Then Cain became a builder of a city, and he named the city Enoch after his son. Irad was born to Enoch, and Irad fathered Mehulah. Mehulah fathered Methuselah, and Methuselah fathered Lamech. Lamech took 2 wives for himself, one named Adah and the other Zillah. Adah bore Jabal. He was the father of the nomadic herdsmen. His brother was named Jubal, and he was the father of all who play the lyre and the flute. Zillah bore Tubal-Cain, who made all kinds of bronze and iron tools. Tubal-Cain's sister was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives Adah and Zillah, "Hear my voice, wives of Lamech. Pay attention to my words, for I killed a man for wounding me, a boy for striking me. If Cain is to be avenged 7 times over, then for Lamech it will be 77 times." Adam knew his wife intimately again, and she gave birth to a son and named him Seth. For, she said, God has given me another child in place of Abel, since Cain killed him. A son was born to Seth also, and he named him Enosh. At that time, people began to call on the name of the Lord. Genesis 5. These are the family records of the descendants of Adam. On the day that God created man, he made them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female. When they were created, he blessed them and called them man. Adam was 130 years old when he fathered a child in his likeness, according to his image, and named him Seth. Adam lived 800 years after the birth of Seth, and he fathered sons and daughters. So Adam's life lasted 930 years, then he died. Seth was 105 years old when he fathered Enosh. Seth lived 807 years after the birth of Enosh, and he fathered sons and daughters. So Seth's life lasted 912 years, and then he died. Enosh was 90 years old when he fathered Kenan. Enosh lived 815 years after the birth of Kenan, and he fathered sons and daughters. So Enosh's life lasted 905 years, and then he died. Kenan was 70 years old when he fathered Mahalalel. Kenan lived 840 years after the birth of Mahalalel, and he fathered sons and daughters. So Kenan's life lasted 910 years, and then he died. Mahalalel was 65 years old when he fathered Jared. Mahalalel lived 830 years after the birth of Jared, and he fathered sons and daughters. So Mahalalel's life lasted 895 years, and then he died. Jared was 162 years old when he fathered Enoch. Jared lived 800 years after the birth of Enoch, and he fathered sons and daughters. So Jared's life lasted 962 years, and then he died. Enoch was 65 years old when he fathered Methuselah. And after the birth of Methuselah, Enoch walked with God 300 years and fathered sons and daughters. So Enoch's life lasted 365 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was not there because God took him. Methuselah was 187 years old when he fathered Lamech. Methuselah lived 782 years after the birth of Lamech, and he fathered sons and daughters. So Methuselah's life lasted 969 years, and then he died. Lamech was 182 years old when he fathered a son, and he named him Noah, saying, "This one will bring us relief from the agonizing labor of our hands, caused by the ground the Lord has cursed." Lamech lived 595 years after Noah's birth, and he fathered sons and daughters. So Lamech's life lasted 777 years, and then he died. Noah was 500 years old, and he fathered Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Genesis chapter 6. When mankind began to multiply on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were beautiful, and they took any they chose as wives for themselves. And the Lord said, "My spirit will not remain with mankind forever, because they are corrupt. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth both in those days and afterwards, when the sons of God came to the daughters of man, who bore children to them. They were the powerful men of old, the famous men. Then the Lord saw that man's wickedness was widespread on the earth, and that every scheme his mind thought of was nothing but evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he made man on earth, and he grieved in his heart. Then the Lord said, "I will wipe off the face of the earth man, whom I created, together with the animals, creatures that crawl, and birds of the sky, for I regret that I made them." Noah, however, found favor in the eyes of the Lord. These are the family records of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among his contemporaries. Noah walked with God. And Noah fathered 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. God saw how corrupt the earth was, for all flesh had corrupted its way on the earth. Then God said to Noah, I have decided to put an end to all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. Therefore I am going to destroy them along with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it with pitch inside and outside. This is how you are to make it. The ark will be 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. You are to make a roof, finishing the sides of the ark to within 18 inches of the roof. You are to put a door in the side of the ark. Make it with lower, middle, and upper decks. Understand that I am bringing a deluge, flood waters on the earth, to destroy all flesh under heaven with the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will die. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark with your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives. You are also to bring into the ark 2 of every living thing of all flesh, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of everything from the birds according to their kinds, from the livestock according to their kinds, and from every animal that crawls on the ground according to its kind, will come to you so that you can keep them alive. Take with you every kind of food that is eaten. Gather it as food for you and for them. And Noah did this. He did everything that God had commanded him. Genesis chapter 7. Then the Lord said to Noah, Enter the ark, and you and all your household, for I have seen that you alone are righteous before me in this generation. You are to take with you 7 pairs, a male and his female, of all the clean animals, and 2 of the animals that are not clean, a male and its female. And 7 pairs, male and female, of the birds of the sky, in order to keep offspring alive on the face of the whole earth. 7 days from now I will make it rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe off the face of the earth every living thing I have made. And Noah did everything that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the deluge came, and the water covered the earth. So Noah, his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives entered the ark because of the waters of the deluge. From the clean animals, unclean animals, birds, and every creature that crawls on the ground, 2 of each, male and female, entered the ark with Noah, just as God had commanded him. 7 days later, the waters of the deluge came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day, all the sources of the watery depths burst open. The floodgates of the sky were opened, and the rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that same day, Noah, along with his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's wife, and his 3 sons' wives, entered the ark with him. They entered it with all the wildlife according to their kinds, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that crawls on the earth according to its kind, all birds, every fowl, and everything with wings according to their kinds. 2 of all flesh that has breath of life in it entered the ark with Noah. Those that entered, male and female of all flesh, entered just as God had commanded him. Then the Lord shut him in. The deluge continued 40 days on the earth. The waters increased and lifted up the ark so that it rose above the earth. The waters surged and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. Then the waters surged even higher on the earth, and all the high mountains under the whole sky were covered. The mountains were covered as the waters surged above them, more than 20 feet. All flesh perished. Creatures that crawl on the earth, birds, livestock, wildlife, and all creatures that swarm on the earth, as well as all mankind. Everything with the breath of the Spirit of life in its nostrils, everything on dry land, died. He wiped out every living thing that was on the surface of the ground, from mankind to livestock, to creatures that crawl, to the birds of the sky, and they were wiped off the earth. Only Noah was left, and those that were with him in the ark. And the waters surged on the earth for 150 days. May God bless the reading of His Word. Okay, we're going to leave you with our quote of the day, and our quote of the day comes from the guy who wrote the book Born to Run, Christopher McDougall. This is actually an excerpt from that book, and this is very interesting about running. Distance running was the way we survived and thrived and spread across the planet. You ran to eat to avoid being eaten. You ran to find a mate and impress her, and with her you ran off to start a new life together. You had to love running or you wouldn't live to love anything else. Running is really an encoded ancestral necessity. You know, running is built into us. The book Born to Run tells us how our bodies are actually made to run long distances. Most animals are not born to do what we do as runners. So we are very specialized in the way that God made us, and it's interesting to see that. All right, it's day 2. Thank you for joining us. Now may God bless every step of every run or walk. Go out there and shine your light.